Morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. We strive to be a congregation of compassion and justice, rooted in many sources of wisdom and many spiritual paths. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes and identities are welcome here. Believers in God and mystery, nature and love, queer and trans folks, immigrants and refugees, all of who we are and who we are becoming are held here as sacred. Before, during, or after the service, you can visit the small altars on either side to light a candle for a joy or sorrow, or write a prayer in the bowl that will be collected after the service. After service, you can join us down in the Commons for refreshments and conversation. There are multiple ways to give this season and share your resources. You can see them in the front inside cover of your order of service. Throughout these Sundays, we're collecting for special funds, in-house funds that go to various needs, and today we're collecting for the Human Needs Fund, which provides financial support to members and friends in times of need. You can give as the plates pass or anytime online. And then you can see in the order of service information for the Guests at Your Table program, as well as the holiday giving tree, which is in the lobby today. Every gift is marked by a decoration then added to the tree. And with a snow Sunday last week, now is the Sunday to catch up on those gifts. So you can visit that, and we're asking for gifts to be delivered back anytime this week through next Sunday morning. So thank you for your generosity. Today's flowers are given by the Social Justice Shared Ministry team in honor of Shelley Rowe, who received the Rochester Mayor's Medal of Personal Achievement this week for creating a better community. And we're so glad and proud of Shelley and her work. On the back of your order of service, you can see special events and services, including our Children and Youth Winter program on the 21st, the winter solstice, Christmas, and more. And note that next week, we hope you can join us for an open house at our temporary location where we'll be beginning to gather later this winter in the next couple months while our new church is built. You can join a tour that's hosted by our staff, including kind of a search and find donut holes in the kitchen with Nick, next Sunday at Our Savior's Lutheran Church on Viola Road, 1:30 to 2:30. So all are welcome. We hope to see you there and see your new e-news for more info on parking and entry. And finally, a note, we had a special announcement at 9 a.m. from Gail and Allie Bishop about our Breaking Ground campaign. And we are grateful that we have had several households come forward with a matching donation, $450,000. And we are well now over $100,000 of additional gifts to match that. So we're asking for those who've already given to the campaign, if you're able to extend that or add additional gifts, or for those who are new or haven't made a gift yet, that will help us reduce debt and create the best church that we are able to when we hope to break ground this coming spring. So you can find information down in the lobby for that. We've had gifts ranging from now in the additional campaign from Allie Bishop, $3, from all the way up to $300,000. So all across the financial spectrum, we want you to be able to go into that new church when it's built and know that you were part of helping create it and making it a reality for all of us. So you can find paper forms down in the lobby or contact Amy Nelson for information on ways to give. And thank you for your generosity as we build our future. So I invite you now to take a breath as we enter this time of worship with these words from our minister in the 1870s, the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes. May our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together. In just a moment, the hymn will call us back. The lyrics are in the back of your order of service. But before that, I invite you to rise in body or spirit and greet those around you.
Like it? for our chalice lighting. Love is the service of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Join me today as we travel back to the mid-1800s. There was a boy named Lewis Latimer. Now, Lewis didn't grow up with everything handed to him. In fact, life was often very hard. His parents had escaped from slavery, and when he was little, his family sometimes had to move from house to house just to stay safe. Even though Lewis didn't get to go to a fancy school, he loved to learn. He drew, he tinkered, and he dreamed. And when he was only 16, he even joined the Navy by lying about his age because he wanted to help fight for freedom during the Civil War. When he came home, he found a job at a law office that worked with inventions. At first, he was just an office boy, the kid who swept the floors and ran errands. But Lewis had hope. He watched carefully, learned how to draw technical designs, and practiced late at night with tools he bought himself. Slowly but surely, he became so good at drawing inventions that he rose all the way to being the head draftsman. But even then, he wasn't paid as much as the white workers. He could have given up. But Lewis knew it wasn't fair, he kept choosing and making hope with his own hands and heart. One day, Lewis helped Alexander Graham Bell design the very first telephone. Later, he worked on the electric light bulb. Now, you've heard of Thomas Edison. Well, Edison's first light bulbs burned out just after a couple of days. That was not very helpful. But Lewis figured out how to make the filaments, the little squiggly part inside the bulb, last much, much longer. And because of him, light bulbs became something ordinary families could actually use. So think about this. The reason we can turn on a lamp or all of these lights surrounding us is partly because Lewis Latimer never gave up and because he chose hope where others only saw problems. But here's something. Who has heard of Lewis Latimer before? He's not in our history books. Why? Because he was black. And even though he helped change the world, many people ignored him. Yet Lewis kept on shining. He wrote poems, played music, painted pictures, and even helped start a Unitarian church in Queens, New York, where his portrait still hangs today. Lewis once wrote about the electric light. Like the light of the sun, it beautifies all the things on which it shines and is no less welcome in the palace than it is of the humblest of home. What I love about this story is that it reminds us that hope doesn't just appear. We don't just find it lying about like some seashell on the beach. It is something we make. Hope is something we choose, together and in ourselves. Lewis made hope by working hard and believing in his dreams, by sharing his light with others. So the next time you flip on a light switch, remember Lewis Latimer, the man who helped bring light to the world and who showed us that hope is not only found, but made. Well, Matt plays the children's benediction. I invite kids up through middle school to join me over there. Lyrics can be found in the back inside cover of your hymnal.
During my library career, a favorite activity was introducing new library boards to their responsibilities, and not just those duties required by Minnesota statutes, but those responsibilities entrusted to them as caretakers of a community jewel. While there are certainly those individuals who seek such an appointment, especially these days, with the goal of controlling the collection or banning certain books, over all those years, I found most people were interested in doing good within their community. People who believed in the importance of reading, the importance of a safe place, the importance of lifelong learning. They rarely recognized it, but library trustees are a people of hope. After all, who but a person with hopes for the future builds a library, builds a school, builds a church? Who but a person hoping for a positive change spends time and money supporting something that they might only use for a short time, but builds beyond themselves? And it is this sense of hope that drew me and grounds me in this liberal religion, both personally as I explore and enrich my spiritual life, and collectively when we act. These acts of hopeful resistance take many forms. When Richard and I submitted our Breaking Ground pledge form so that we might do just that this spring, break ground on Elias Place. When the offertory plate is passed and the funds we collect go out these doors to be shared with our social justice partners. When we don our gold scarves and put on our Side with Love t-shirts, whether on a sunny summer day or a frigid afternoon. When we work side by side, shout out the injustice, and work for change. These are acts of hope. As this hectic month begins, and I wonder how will I accomplish all the tasks, which cookies to bake, how to decorate the new house, last weekend's snowfall served as a reminder to slow down and take a breath. To remember in these days of Advent that we are waiting for the gentle lights of Hanukkah and solstice and Christmas. That as a people of faith, and as described by Reverend Victoria Safford, we are at the gates of hope, the place of resistance and defiance, the piece of ground from which you would see the world both as it is and as it could be, as it will be, the place from which you glimpse not only struggle, but the joy of the struggle. May it be so. As an expression of this liberal faith and to keep the hope machine running strong, the ushers will collect your offering.
Say to me, what kind of fool believes that a song will make a difference in the end? By way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who thinks a song is somewhere to begin. The song is somewhere to begin. The search for something worth believing in. If changes are to come, there are things that must be done, and a song is somewhere to begin. People say to me, oh, you gotta be crazy. How can you dream in times like these? Don't you read the news? Don't you know the score? How can you dream when so many others grieve? People say to me, what kind of fool believes that a dream will make a difference in the end? My way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who sees a dream as somewhere to begin. The dream is somewhere to begin. The search for something worth believing in. If changes are to come, there are things that must be done, and a dream is somewhere to begin. People say to me, oh, you gotta be crazy. How can you love in times like these? Don't you read the news? Don't you know the score? How can you love when so many others grieve? People say to me, what kind of fool believes that love will make a difference in the end? By way of a reply, I say a fool such as I, who sees the love as somewhere to begin. For love is somewhere to begin. The search for something worth believing in. If changes are to come, there are things that must be done, and love is somewhere, and a dream is somewhere, and a song is somewhere to begin.
I invite you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Above you the sky, and beyond that the stars shining with their ancient light, holding you in this moment and breath, you yourself made of earth and stars. Invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life and love, God and Gaia of 1,000 names and beyond all naming. How we wish it could go without saying that to love our neighbor means being a country where we mean it, and we strive to be a place for people yearning to breathe free. How we wish it could go without saying that our Somali neighbors are a blessing to our lives and communities, that immigrants and refugees are a blessing to our lives and communities, that queer and trans folks are divine and sacred. How we wish it could go without saying, but give us the courage to speak it and to live it. This idea that all are holy and sacred with worth and dignity, and that in this season where we tell stories of finding the sacred in the most ordinary commonplaces, and in power in communities of liberation, right in the face of fear-based and violent tyrannical governments. May we be a living embodiment of hope and solidarity in every small or large way we can. And in the overwhelm of our world and our grief, help us find our own capacity and gifts to care well for ourselves and for each other, to love each other courageously. We hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your heart this day in joy or sorrow, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. For the names and places spoken and unspoken, may we be held in love and justice. These words of meditation are from the Reverend Nadia Bolz-Weber, who often crafts prayers to help break us beyond some of the traditional language, to speak in language that maybe hits us in different ways. So she writes this prayer entitled, "A Shitty Little Prayer for Gloomy People." She writes, "Dear God, I woke up today exhausted after a full night's sleep. My 90-minute walk did not revive me. A nice breakfast with lots of protein didn't seem to do the trick either. And before you ask, yes, I'm fully hydrated, Lord. I'm hydrated and weary. All day long, my thoughts get gloomy. Is this the end of days? Should I invest in a bunker? Did we already live through the most peaceful, prosperous times and we didn't realize it? And then I try to redirect my thoughts to where is beauty happening in this moment now? Who might need some help today that's within my reach? And how can the sky look so beautiful? But that amount of redirection is taking a lot of my energy, Lord. And so what I'm trying to say is that if you could help me pivot my restless brain from gloom to gladness just 10% faster than it is now, that'd make a huge difference. So that I can say thanks for this day and everything beautiful in my life that I did not earn or create, that might help me know how to help, and to say thanks for dogs and flowers and sun. Amen. May our prayers be both and, to hold the brokenness and beauty, so that we might find the resilience to answer the calls for justice and love. Hymn of Meditation is printed in your order of service. Rose will teach us the lyrics are in your order of service. Rose will teach us the song. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing.
I'll sing a phrase and you can sing it back to me. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace underneath. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace underneath. Next phrase. Peace sing that together twice. On the second time, if you want to add some harmony, feel free. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace underneath. Peace within us, peace over us, let all around us be peace. Peace before us, peace behind us, peace underneath. Peace within us, peace over us, let all around us be peace.
Beginners by Denise Levertov. We have only begun to love the earth. We have only begun to imagine the fullness of life. How could we tire of hope? So much is in bud. How can desire fail? We have only begun to imagine justice and mercy, only begun to envision how it might be to live as siblings with beast and flower, not as oppressors. Surely our river cannot already be hastening into the sea of non-being. Surely it cannot drag in the silt all that is innocent. Not yet. Not yet. There is too much broken that must be mended, too much hurt we have done to each other that cannot yet be forgiven. We have only begun to know the power that is in us if we would join our solitudes in communion of struggle. So much is unfolding that must complete its gesture. So much is in bud.
Never had a band sing one of my songs before, so it's a good day so far. I wrote this song at a point in my life where I was really needing to just drive fear away. And so I invite you to find a little sweetness in the things that you do during the season. Find the things that you love. It's my belief that only love and gratitude drive fear away.
Drink red wine. I'm gonna plant a garden and take my own sweet time. I'm gonna sing my own songs and let the music play. For it's love that drives the fear away. Watch it burning bright. Gonna dance in morning till it all feels right. I'm gonna look for angels in the children's eyes. Gonna stand up grounded in the pale moonlight. You can make your choice as you go. Choose gratitude in drives the fear away. I'm gonna give love freely, like the gift it is. I'm gonna find my purpose while there's space to live. I'm gonna cook with honey each and every meal, knowing sweet abandon is the chance to feel. And you can make your choice as you go along. I choose gratitude in each new song. And you can join us here on a brand new day, for it's love that drives the fear away. Yes, it's love that drives the fear away.
Thank you, Jane. And it sounds great with the whole band. It's beautiful. 70 years ago this month, December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks sat down on the bus. The story we know well. Refusing to give up her seat, her action, which she described as in some ways a spontaneous act, was rooted in an orientation toward the world that she had as a veteran activist for justice. Rosa Parks was secretary of the Montgomery NAACP. Others had done similar acts before her there, but hers became a catalyst for the Montgomery bus boycott that would desegregate the buses a year later, December of 1956. What I like to remember about that story is that it wasn't random, even though it was spontaneous in the moment. It wasn't planned, but it was part of a movement of solidarity. It was her being in conversation and community and being ready to act in the moment, taking into consideration all of the factors and all of the risk, having an orientation toward a better world, that the act, however futile it may have felt, with no certainty of outcome, she was compelled to take the chance for a world not promised, not guaranteed, but possible, for a movement in the right direction, successful in that moment or not. Hope makes us receptive to possibilities into which we are not thrown, but we dream ourselves, writes South Korean philosopher Byung-Chul Han. He says anxiety has no access to the future as a space of possibility, but hope, by contrast, discloses what is coming, the not yet born, the becoming. He says it's a messianic mood. I'm not sure about you, but I don't feel most days that that's my current mood these days. A mood of hope, a mood of being ready to be in the messiness of the not yet born. This idea of hope, this month's theme, takes on an embodied real reality in the world, and I'm wondering if that's your mood or not these days. My mood, much of the time, most mornings, reading the news or understanding what's happening in our communities is more like, ah! Maybe that's my morning prayer. Maybe it's yours too. Or as one of you wrote to me this week, my mood's more like the squirrel in the yard, right after the snow, searching for the things that had carefully hidden around the yard that are now gone, wondering where did all the things I knew before go to? A little unsteady, a little uncertain. Maybe you're feeling partly frightened or partly angry at the state of the world, or even partly grateful at times for the small moments of peace or beauty or generosity mixed into all of it. I have a small basket of chocolates in my office all the time that some of you frequent, maybe more of you now that I'm saying this. And there's currently a choice split in the basket between a Santa hat-wrapped chocolate and a Grinch-wrapped chocolate. And you can take your pick, choose your mood for the day. But this idea of hope, always this time of year, feels like that you've got to kind of choose. Which direction are you going? Especially this year, which we seem to say every year. It seems like an evil trick at best to make ourselves reflect on hope in growing darkness and despair. Hahn writes more about the larger culture in which we're in, saying, "A specter is haunting us, and it is fear." He says we're confronted with apocalyptic scenarios, pandemics, world wars, climate catastrophe, versions of apocalypse abound, he says, even offered as commodities because apocalypse sells. He says an apocalypse mood is spreading. We muddle from crisis to crisis. Fear is a popular tool then for rulers because fear blocks us, he says, from our path and connection toward the other, beyond the self. It turns us inward. Advent is the season we're in that leads up to Christmas in our spiritual heritage of universalism. And if you want to know, if you saw in the back of the order of service, how Unitarians reinvented Christmas in the United States and actually defended the early wars on Christmas, you can join Derek tomorrow night at 6 o'clock for more of that. It's actually a fascinating history. But this season is similar to what a time that the Quakers often call expectant waiting. This idea that there is goodness, beauty, even joy to be expected, even in the realities of it not being here yet. It's often symbolized in this season with colors like blue and purple representing the sky just before dawn, the deepest dark right before the light. For the Quakers, which I spent some good time with in my spiritual journey and still have a kindred heart with, as so does our tradition, stemming from the radical fringes of the Reformation that focused on belief in mystery and metaphor and justice, their weekly practice of silent worship is often called expectant waiting. Sometimes we joke that Unitarians are just real loud Quakers. But their idea, their beautiful practice, is they hold silence together. It's a type of silence that is not inactive or just quietness, but an attentiveness of the Spirit, a sense of openness to possibility that comes beyond formal or prescribed language. It's an expectation that within that practice there will be something of beauty, revelation, mystery, hope, love, Spirit, God that will show up, will be present in some way, known or unknown. There's something in that, I believe, for us, in a culture that wants to know all the things, loudly often, and a religious tradition that while we strive to embrace mystery, sometimes we embrace science and reason and facts even more. There's a joke that we rewrite the old Christmas hymn and say, "O tidings of reason and fact," in our tradition, which sometimes gets falsely understood as being definitive, rigid, but we know good science opens us up to mystery. So in a combination of modern culture and religious history, we want to define everything neatly. Same can be said in our building process right now, actually. When's our last Sunday? We're not exactly sure. If you noticed in the holiday guide, it said literally, save a date for date to be determined. So we're trying to practice a gracious ambiguity in that process. But an important part of hope, I believe, is to protect from an overly future-leaning tendency that we think hope is, of thinking too far that it resides only in the future. Many cultures throughout history have guarded against that type of escapist idea that you hope for something that's far away by thinking and living within times that are more cyclical rather than linear. Not a straight line ahead, but we're in circles of time, seasons, generations, wisdom that shows up in history and future grounded in the now. To think we are because our ancestors were, and we live because our descendants might live. Thomas Merton writes about this in a helpful way for me. He wrote, "Don't depend on the hope of results. You may have to face the fact that much of your work will be apparently worthless or achieve no result at all, and perhaps even the opposite results of what you wanted. As you get used to this idea," he writes, "you start more and more to concentrate not on the results, but on the value, the rightness, the truth of the work, the act itself." The rightness of the work itself. This is the belief that how we live or what choices we make, how we orient our lives and ways of living may or may not turn out the way we think or hope, but to live with integrity, to live our values, it's about intrinsic value, not dependent on a specific quantifiable result. It's a posture of embracing ambiguity. It's congruent with how we believe the world ought to be, even as it isn't there yet. Not yet, writes the poet. There's too much broken that must be mended, too much hurt that we have done to each other that cannot yet be forgiven. We've only begun to know, she writes, the power that is in us if we would join our solitudes in a communion of struggle. So much is unfolding, she says. So much is in bud. Hope is an invitation to be part of the uncertain and the unfolding, to be in solitudes of communions and communities of struggle. So in our current political landscape, hellscape some days, Rebecca Solnit expresses it in this way. She says, hope just means another world might be possible, not promised. She said, hope locates itself in the premise that we don't know what will happen. And in that spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. I want to say that again because it's an important and hard thing. In the spaciousness of uncertainty, there is room to act. That can be a hard thing to embrace, much less to practice or believe in. That uncertainty gives us space. Hans spoke about this too, in that hope directs us beyond just ourselves toward the other, frees us to remember we do not live alone. We are, for better and worse, deeply interconnected, impacted by and impactful toward each other. We live together. And so what is the mood of your spirit these days? What's the orientation of your heart? Toward what unfolding and uncertain possibilities are you giving your energy, your attention, your care? Where or how might you be willing to make some small act of solidarity, of care, of defiance, of joy that helps give shape to your hopes for this world? Maybe a song is one way to begin, the band sang for us. Or you're simply getting out of bed to brush your teeth and wake to the day and do what needs to be done for growth, for fun, for love. And then keep turning toward each other, not just inward, into the uncertainty that any day brings if we're honest. And that is the only way we show up for our neighbors whose identities are under threat, like the lines of neighbors and some of my colleagues gathering in the Twin Cities this week and other places to say that fear and intimidation are not American values, are not faith values. But the core of so many stories this season has always been, how are we opening up to each other, showing up for each other, making space for each other in defiant and joyful ways in the face of tyranny? Rosa likely didn't know what would happen. She had a real good idea of many possibilities that could have happened. But she knew she was acting out of hope of a larger community, a belief in a different world, and that act, thoughtful and intentional and risky, was the right thing to do regardless. These are harrowing days, and we know in our histories and stories and the lives of our ancestors that community, singing, sharing art, food, staying connected, is what propels our hope to take hold in our lives, in the world where there is still space enough for us to act. Our closing hymn is Come Sing a Song With Me, a practice that we need for these days. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing. We'll sing verses 1, 2, and 4. invite you, as you're comfortable, to place a hand on your heart or toward the sky or earth in gratitude with these words from my dear colleague and mentor, the Reverend Victoria Safford. Our mission is to plant ourselves at the gates of hope, not the prudent gates of optimism, which are narrower, not the stalwart, boring gates of common sense, not the strident gates of self-righteousness, which creak on shrill and angry hinges, nor the cheerful, flimsy garden gate of everything's going to be all right, but a different, sometimes lonely place, the place of truth-telling, of resistance and defiance, the piece of ground from which you perceive the world both as it is and as it could be. May it be so. Amen.
This is a song I wrote about moving and moving on about 20 years ago, and 3 states and 4 countries later, here I am again in Rochester. But, it's about what we take with us, what we leave behind, and the boxes that we pack and the boxes that we end up in at the end of our lives. So here it is, Life in Boxes. Empty, white walls, new beginning, a new page. Oh, how I wish I could just start again. Scars on the plaster, hope and regret, and sunburns. Oh, back into that box where we begin. What is life but a movement of shadows, a suitcase of comings and goings? All we can touch will fade in the sunlight and leave only outlines. Labels, definitions, in the midst of chaos, we still try. Oh, seal me up before I explode. Dust and empty corners, faded thoughts and lost time. Oh, once again to journey down the road. What is life but a movement of shadows, a suitcase of comings and goings? All we can touch will fade in the sunlight and leave only outlines. life is in boxes.